It's been a little while since I've done a vlog post update video thing. I want to talk about a couple things that I've seen kind of come up within the community in other live streams, Facebook groups, chats, other things. And the three topics I want to talk about, and this isn't meant to be controversial, but so I want to talk about three things. I want to talk about cancel culture. I want to talk about conspiracy theories, and I want to talk about community drama. Let's see if I can remember to talk about them in that order. We know how I roll at this point in time. So, I see a lot of people that are talking about cancel culture and, feeling like they have to hold back on things that they feel, whether those are political views, whether they're just lifestyle personality things, what they think about something and whatnot. And, cancel culture, it's one of those things, and I tend to see things sort of, maybe I see this a little down the middle. There's some instances when sometimes a person just needs to be canceled. They just need to shut the fuck up and go away. Or go away until they learn a thing and redeem themselves. Now, we've all said, done, thought stupid things that are probably offensive, whether we came at it just, not being educated or having grown up, like I went to Catholic school, so I was homophobic when I was 14 or 15 and pro-life because that's what I was told, you had to do. I've learned a thing since, over the past 30 some years since then. Should I be held accountable for what I thought when I was 14 or 15? And maybe the things I said back then? Probably not, because you know what? I've changed, evolved, and I learned a thing. And that's what needs to be done. And if someone points out to you, I'll use the J.K. Rowling thing since that's, been a hot topic issue. Now, does that mean you can't be a Harry Potter fan anymore? I would say maybe just not J.K. Rowling, she double downs on her TERFE, which stands for trans-exclusionary reactionary feminism, where, it's her opinion, and she's a public person. So she's espousing her beliefs, and she's very influential. So that can cause direct harm to transgender persons. So maybe if, 5 years from now, she's like, comes out and is like, oh, okay, I was wrong, I learned a thing, blah, blah, blah. Okay. But, it's a difficult topic for people to wrap their head around. I've Lord knows over the years, I haven't always understood things, but I, learned a thing. And even if I don't agree with something 100%, or don't understand something 100%, I accept it. Is it so hard for her to be like, okay, trans women are women and I'll shut the fuck up about it? No, she just doubles down on being a TERF. And so you're seeing a lot of that cancel culture around that particular issue. And I think in that case, it might be slightly warranted. But historically, how many people, utterly shitty people, have created completely amazing things? There's music I like that I'm like, this person's an utter shitlord. I'm an old 80s metalhead. I like a couple songs by Damned Yankees. Who played guitar in Damned Yankees? Ted fucking Nugent. Do I agree with any fucking thing that asshole has ever had to say? No. I hate that motherfucker. But they had a couple good songs. So, looking at things rationally in that sense is shitty people can make awesome stuff. It's just how the world works. Is every author that's ever existed a good person? Every artist, every musician, every whatever. No, because we're human, we're flawed. And, some things are a product of their time. And Does that make it okay? Not necessarily, but things were different 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 100 years ago. So while we look at it now with our modern eyes and are like, oh my God, the horror and stuff, that was just normal back then. It doesn't, that person may have been a shitty person, but, ignoring and canceling, the contributions that they made to society often doesn't make sense. But, when we're looking at things in the fast-paced, global world that we live in today, where Google a thing, there is knowledge out there, whether you watch a YouTube video on it, whether you read a book, whether you watch documentaries or any of those things, science is a thing, apparently, and like going back to the J.K. Rowling thing, and I've gotten into arguments with friends of mine about this, is people get so hung up on gender being defined by genitalia. Science kind of is like, no, gender's a brain thing. Science, y'all. But, that's just using one example. We have all this knowledge at our fingertips, so there is no excuse to be ignorant about things. And I know this probably doesn't seem like it has anything to kind of do with black magic or the left-hand path or witchcraft in general, but thinking about it in that sense. Looking at different people and personalities, and some people get blacklisted and shitlisted for various things they've said and done in the past. Does that mean no one is ever able to redeem themselves, to make up for their transgressions, to learn, to acknowledge, to not do the same shit over and over again? I mean, if someone's doing the same shit over and over again, let's say Ted Nugent. Ted Nugent is not going to, suddenly change his tune anytime soon. So if you want to cancel Ted Nugent, cancel fucking Ted Nugent. But I still like those two damn Yankee songs. So sue me. But it's just thinking about things in more broader terms and realizing that it's not black and white. There's infinite shades of gray in between. And, what are your motivations for supporting these things? I used to be very anti-gun. I'm not anymore. I don't own a gun because I don't really know anything about guns, and I also have joint issues in my hands, so being able to sometimes squeezing a shampoo bottle hurts like fuck, and I can't do it, so I need to find a gun that I could actually, be able to pull the trigger on, but that's a different story. It's again, you're allowed to free will, y'all. You're allowed to think for yourselves, but don't let people feed their garbage to you, And not all gun people are crazy, whatever. Maybe I used to think that, but I don't anymore. Again, it's people change their minds with the times and the information that's available to them. So, again, learn a thing. And if you don't understand something, ask questions, seek out knowledge. It's not that hard. You don't even have to go to a library anymore. I mean, I'm not saying, not go to the library unless, I don't know if they're open right now with COVID stuff. But, back in my day, we had to go to a library or a bookstore or something if we wanted to learn a thing. Before the internet, because I'm old. But, there's no excuse for ignorance anymore. And I don't personally, when there's obvious, blatant, willful ignorance, that to me is downright offensive because there's no excuse for it. Or people that are like, oh, well, Fox News told me to think this way, so I think this way. Well, you know what? The Catholic Church told me to be homophobic and to be pro-life and all this shit. Doesn't mean I have to. And I got away from that because by the time I was 15, I was like, you know what? This is some bullshit. So, yeah. So, that's just my little rant on cancel culture. So let's talk conspiracy theories. Now, I'm a rational, science-based person, but I do like learning about conspiracy theories. I find them fascinating. Do I believe most of them? No. Because most of the stuff is just, it makes a great story. And, sure, we want to believe there's some, global conspiracy at hand and stuff like that. And I see a lot of that going around now with COVID things. And you know what? I have friends that had COVID. Whether it was a mild case, medium, whatever, they survived. But I'm looking at people that had this very early on and the long-term physiological health effects that they've had. COVID is a real thing. I don't know how it works. I don't know where it came from or when it's going to go away, but it is a real thing. So, yes, people want to believe that it's, there's conspiracies and it's, the government trying to control you and stuff. But you know what? Seeing what my friends have gone through and how someone who was young, healthy and whatnot now has, all these, kind of lingering health issues months later. I mean, are they going to have those issues for the rest of their life? Is it going to shorten their life? We don't know a lot of this yet. And we don't know necessarily how it's necessarily, it's airborne, but, at the same time, there's such a lag in, okay, so if I got tested today, but exposed tomorrow, I get my test results back on the next day and it shows that I'm negative, I'm walking around thinking that I have a negative test and whatnot. But I was just exposed and didn't know it. So now I may or may not be positive. So there's a lot of guesswork. And, one of the local universities where I live in Philadelphia, they were open for, 8 or 9 days and have 165 students with COVID. And I know all the colleges, because I work for a college, or university rather, and they're requiring testing before you can come to campus. But there's that period of time in which, between when you get the test and when you get the results and whatnot, where you could be exposed and not know it. So that's how these things are that's why they're saying wear a mask just to protect yourself and others. I don't think that part is a conspiracy. At the very least, at least minimize your risk. People have died from this. I know people I know's lost relatives to this. Whether it's their grandmother or a parent or whatnot. So it might be different. I think I see one of the things I see when talking to people about this is that there's a different mindset when you're in the city versus sort of the suburban, rural, areas and stuff. Now, on a normal day in pre-COVID times, I could pass by and come in contact with hundreds, if not thousands of people on an average day. We have the staff and faculty and PhD students who all have offices in my building. There's probably a couple hundred people right there. You have all the students in and out for all the different classes that are in the building. I walk around campus. I go to, Wawa, CVS, wherever, get some lunch. When I was taking public transportation, how many people did I just come in contact with in that day? So I'm used to thinking about things on that kind of scale. Now, if I lived out in the sticks and maybe came in contact with 5 people a day, I might not necessarily think that's that big of a deal. But when you live in the city, and I also live in blocks of row homes with porches and stuff like that, so, I'm used to, even now, I don't go out that often and I don't really hang outside on my porch or anything like that. But, you go to the store, you go to the post office, whatnot, take a walk. How many people did you pass? And if it hangs in the air or, projected 6 feet, 16 feet, whatever, it's a thing. And the university I work for is attached to one of the most world-renowned healthcare systems. So I see all the scientific studies coming out every day. So it's a thing, a real thing. But, I find conspiracy theories in general a form of entertainment, let's say. But I'm not going to base my reality around them. Because, yes, I have questions that are unanswered about things. I'm still a little fuzzy on the science of 9/11 and how the buildings collapsed so fast. But, I don't know. We won't know. And I know as humans we want to know. We want that concrete answer. And sometimes we tell ourselves elaborate stories to get to that concrete answer. And it is what it is. But, I default to science on these things. And, that part, again, is, you can research it. There's lots of documentation. Now, am I 100% like the government's not hiding shit? Oh, of course they're fucking hiding shit. It's the government. That's what they do. I don't trust the government. I don't care who's in office. But, some I trust less than others, like our current administration. But I digress. Not going there. So, I'm going to talk about community drama. Because I'm old. I've been on the internet and part of online communities since 1994. I've seen a lot of freaking drama. Every community has it. Every community I've ever been involved with has it. And that's just how it goes. And you know what? I mean, I'm at this point, I'm 45. I'm like, if you can find some new and exciting way to insult me or make up something about me that I haven't heard before, I will give you an award. Because you've done some good ass work there, because I've heard it all at this point in time and been accused of stranger things. So, fun fact, I have BDSM mind control powers. Ooh. And I may or may not be a Bolshevik, from what I've heard. Who knows? But I've been involved with a lot of online communities, going back to the days of AOL bulletin boards for the Gothic scene, and alt-Gothic and things like that, or goth bands in general. Then there were... Kids, you're going to kick it out of this. We used to have these things called mailing lists. So before y'all had like Facebook and these fun things where everyone could post, shit to their wall and you go to one place, we used to have mailing lists. So you'd all be part of this mailing list and, you'd post topics and respond and it'd all come to your email inbox. That was fun. Lots of drama there in the goth realm and things like that back in the day. I mean, I'm talking like 20 years ago at this point. Live journal, again, that was more personal drama. I think there were groups for things, but I didn't really belong to most of them. I mostly used it to communicate with friends and things like that. So, but there was always drama, even amongst friends. Let's see, I was involved heavily in Second Life. Oh, hella drama. Oh, the drama. Strangely enough, during my World of Warcraft days, there really wasn't much drama. But I also learned from my Second Life days to stay the fuck away from the forums. So that could be why I really never got into any drama stuff on World of Warcraft. And my guild was awesome. I'm still friends with most of them, even though I haven't played World of Warcraft in like 6 years or something like that. Let's see. Oh, I ran a feminist group for a while. That was some fun drama right there. And now I'm part of the Left Hand Path witchcraft, black magic community. And I have to say, it's not as dramatic as most of the communities I've been involved with, but there still is drama. And I know people always want to choose sides and things like that and shitpost other people and, make, reactionary videos and things like that to, issues that really you're like, this involves two people. Let them duke it out. They don't need, their hordes of fans and whatnot to, choose sides and constantly stir the pot. And again, There will always be drama on online communities. It's just how it is. That's why we don't read the comment section. Well, at least I don't read the comment section on most things. Because people just, have nothing better to do and are just looking to slag people who are actually doing things. It is what it is. So that is my little rant for today on a couple hot topics. And don't forget to click like and subscribe. And I want to announce we just hit 200 subscribers for my YouTube channel. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm going to keep producing more content. And thank you to my Patreon supporters. I love you all. Have a good one.